Hey, today, I'd like to talk about Gnostic Christianity, and in particular, this book, Opite Oceanography, also AAO, which AAO is a name for God, a chant for God. Usually, the way to think of it easily in English is iota, alpha, and omega. So the spark, the beginning, and the end, something along those lines. So Opite actually means snake, and I'll show how this ties in, where you may be, people may understand better why some people look at Christianity differently than the Orthodox way. So in the original story of Adam and Eve is supposed, there's supposed to be, there's God, there's Adam and Eve, the first man and woman. The serpent comes and tempts Eve to eat from the tree of life, which, whatever reason, God said you can do anything you want. I don't know if anything, but don't eat from the tree. Actually, it's the tree. Some people say it's the tree of life, but it really is more the tree of knowledge of good and evil is what it would be, because the tree of life is also another thing that goes into Kabbalah and everything. So anyway, the serpent tempts Eve. Eve eats the apple, gets Adam to eat the apple, or maybe it's an unknown fruit. It could be an apple. It's a fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And then they get kicked out of the garden. And then that's why we are not as close to God. We're more kind of half animal, half God. We're in God's image. And that's original sin. And a lot of people say, well, okay, the snake, the serpent, which actually they call it a serpent. I would say it's more of a dragon, because God in the Genesis, when I studied the Bible, he says part of the punishment of the serpent is to lose his legs and his ability to speak, because the serpent spoke and he had legs, which is more like a dragon, I guess we would look at it. So this other being, this serpent, a lot of people look at it as either that is the devil, Satan, Lucifer. It could be. The Opites and the Gnostic Christianity, they looked at it that was another God, like trying to help us, trying to help humans. That the God that was telling us not to eat from the tree, the fruit from the tree, was not good to us. Was trying to hold us back, just trying to oppress us. He didn't want us to be like him. So the way that Gnostic Christianity puts it. And you can see this in the Bible. The God of the Old Testament is a lot different than the God of the New Testament. So the Old Testament God is, you do this, I'm a jealous God, no gods before me, I'm going to destroy this village, I'm going to burn you up, I'm going to turn you into a pillar of salt, I'm going to do all these bad things to you. And he's a very oppressive God. He has all these rules, all these kosher laws and stuff. This is the God of the Old Testament. The Hebrew God, I guess you would say, the old Hebrew God, Yod He Vav He, or they call Jehovah, or there's other names that they use. But the God of the Old Testament was one God. The Gnostics believed that God was actually not a good God. He was a mistake. A lot of times they call him the demiurge. The demiurge. He created this world. He was kind of godlike, but he didn't have a good image of what the God world was. So he created a distorted world. And this is our world. He created our world, but he wasn't that good. So another God came, which they believe was tied to Jesus, which and the New Testament God, or even Lucifer. In a lot of religions, Gnostic religions, they believe that Lucifer, the light bringer, which is named, that doesn't sound like an evil name. Jesus, the whole story of that, he sounds like he was trying to do good things. That was trying to help people and not condemn people so much. So that snake, the serpent in the garden, was actually representing the New Testament God to try to free us from the Old Testament God. And so generally this New Testament God, a lot of times they call him the monad, the one. You can also, like I said, Luciferianism, this and that. So that's why you see some people embrace Luciferianism, even Satanism, and they consider that, because that's another God that they are trying to relate to, that helps us along the way. And then he has these other God helpers that they've termed demons that come along and try to help us too. And so that's their point of view. I mean, maybe you don't agree. And Orthodox Christianity obviously doesn't agree a lot of times. But this book goes into a lot of the imagery that it's like that. If you know, so Opite iconography, they're showing, you know, how you know, they take these things. They found some new text they called the Nag Hammadi library, and that's just the place that was found was Nag Hammadi in this era in the desert, kind of like the Dead Sea Scrolls, but it was all Gnostic stuff. And one of the most important books that they found new translations of was the Secret Book of John, or the Apocrypha of John, and it goes all into this. It tells about how the God in the garden got created. So they say that, and these are all called icons, eons. So eons, icons, they're archons. They're all these different gods. And Sophia was one god. She had a child that she didn't think through. She didn't get permission from the other gods. And Sophia means wisdom, of course. So she created this other one, which it's roughly translated as Yada-Bego, I believe is how they pronounce it. The son of chaos. It's a kind of a Hebrew transliteration. So the son of chaos, and that's our God. That's the God in the garden that created everything here. And he did that because when he created everything, he didn't understand. He didn't have a good image of what was going on, of where he actually came from, because he was cast out, because he was the demiurge, which I think they have a picture of the demiurge here. This is also some other in Greek. The IAO is more like that. There's some beautiful pictures in this. The demiurge is a common. Here's some other things of the prophets that they say, you know, that are kind of different views. This is a beautiful rendition. What they're trying to do here is they're actually trying to show, you know, if Gnostic Christianity wasn't outlawed, which basically Gnostic Christianity was considered the same as witchcraft is now. And a lot of it is tied into witchcraft. A lot of witch groups will even chant AAO. There's a lot of things, you know, the serpent being raised up and not being looked at as evil is kind of a witchcraft thing. So it all ties into that. This also ties, of course, into Thelema, Freemasonry, all kinds of esoteric things. Any Gnostic Christianity thing anything that was Gnostic basically had to go underground into the Freemasons, or the OTO, even the original OTO, like the Templars and stuff before Aleister Crowley got involved. Witchcraft, or traditional witchcraft, I would say also. So the idea is that there's, in Christianity, instead of Orthodox Christianity, and a lot of people say that there's a disconnect between the Old Testament and the New Testament. They seem like different gods. And so so a lot of people believe that, you know, Christianity is just an offshoot of Hebrew, you know, of the Jewish religion, you know, of the Old Testament, which a lot of people, if you look at it, it was written in Greek. A lot of people don't know that the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. The New Testament was written in Koine Greek, and some Aramaic was mixed in there too, which doesn't matter. There's a small amount. So it was written in a different language. It was from a different area because the settings were different. It was set in Israel with the Romans and all that. They were speaking Greek. They were writing Greek. They were speaking Aramaic probably, but these stories are probably mixed into were Greek in origin. Had a lot of Greek put into it, and not necessarily, and had some Hebrew, of course, because they say that Jesus was Jewish and this and that, and the Jews condemned him. So you see in there they look at the Jews as kind of like enemies, which is odd if it's the same religion. So that's the connection that I feel that I've made, and I'm curious if anybody else what their opinion is on this. So that's where I have this vision of uniting all of the Christian type religions. And it's not necessarily even Christian. I mean, there's a lot of different deities in here Like this is a, you know, there's a lot of different depictions of God, and the Sphinx, and this is just a powerful book, you know. There's stuff that have women put up, like Sophia, like I said. There's women, female deities, which is, you know, of course, unknown of that's another, you know. And then there's, of course, there's Abraxas, which is, you know, that's a whole nother video. Abraxas is a Gnostic Christian deity. He had a rooster head, he had a whip and a shield, and he, you know, I'd have to go all into a whole nother video with that. But the main point of this video is when you see people, you know, putting forward, you know, you wouldn't say they're just evil. Maybe some people are. Maybe people will say, hey, I don't like goodness, and I'm just going to go with the opposite of whatever Christianity is. A lot of people, you know, some people have put thought into it, and it's secret, kind of, that the snake tried to help us, not try to hurt us by eating the fruit that made us more like God. Because, you know, the whole idea is to be like gods. You see this in a lot of Gnostic Christianity, and most religions in America, in my country, in America, seem to be more Gnostic when you get into them. Like Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, they're very Gnostic. Mormonism, they'll pretty much from the beginning, they say your goal is to become a god, not to go with God. And they don't have the same God as the Orthodox Christians. I mean, they try to say, you know, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They try to not go against the flow by calling themselves Jesus Christ, and, you know, throwing that word around. But in reality, you know, it's more Gnostic from my experience. And, you know, if there's anybody in the comments that disagrees, you know, that's fine. So I just wanted to put this video out to show, you know, some people, they've put some thought into this, and I like it because it's more of a Unitarian. It's like, we don't have to say the snake is evil. Anybody who doesn't follow Orthodox Christianity is evil. I think it's more of a symbiont thing. I mean, if there wasn't the snake, then we wouldn't have the story. If Jesus didn't have people that crucified him, we wouldn't have the story. It's kind of a unifying, you know, good and bad, yin and yang. I'm not saying, you know, it's good to torture and execute people, but I didn't create the story. I mean, I didn't put that up. I didn't create Christianity, and I didn't put the symbol of a man being tortured to death as their icon, as their synthesis. They did, and I'm trying to understand it in some ways. The same thing with the snake. The same thing with, you know, when people are conjuring demons, and you're like, why would they even try to do that? In Gnostic Christianity, you know, the snake was here to help us. Maybe he was Lucifer. Maybe he was called Satan by some, which, you know, and the demons are other gods that are here to try to help us along in this incarnation. That's what they maybe think, you know. I mean, I think that's what Solomon thought. And magicians usually think that, not in terms of good and bad, and, you know, this is bad, that's a demon, that's an angel. These are just spirits, and the way you look at them, it's good, it's bad, it's your point of view. That's all it is. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you made it to the end. I've been trying to make this for a while and get this thought in my head, just kind of winging it. I hope it came out okay. Please give me comments. Please give me views or whatever. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get this stuff out there more. I hope people will understand. So this is Guion, and I'm signing off.